Could Batman catch Yoshikage Kira from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? That's what we'll be talking about today. So Batman goes to the town of Morio in search of this mysterious killer because people have gone missing. And one thing he notices right away looking at the patterns is they're all women, all young women, which implies that this killer is someone who does this out of some kind of pleasurable reason. He clearly has some kind of target, a demographic he likes to kill. He doesn't just kill random people. These aren't people who have personally, gone for him or ruined his life. It's like Jack the Ripper, like he only went for women, prostitutes to be specific. So that's what Batman notices right away. When he arrives in Morio, he sets up hidden surveillance all over the place. And it's not long before he can connect patterns in location and time of parts of the murder. He goes to visit old places where these disappeared people have lived, and he uses his analytical technology. And he's able to sense some sort of paranormal special superpower has been used. Batman in the comics has been able to sense paranormal activity before, sense where ghosts are without being able to see them, and his forensic technology, if you've ever played the Arkham games, can pick up on just like insane stuff when he goes to the scene long after the crime. So he goes inside the apartment of one of the disappeared women, and he's able to pick up on the anomalies, right? All the paranormal activity of their disappearance. But he still can't figure out an identity. No traces of the actual killer themselves have been left behind. Batman studying his surveillance, he notices strange patterns in a few men, and he's already narrowed it down to a few suspects. One of them, of course, being Yoshikage Kira. Batman notices that Yoshikage Kira, he blends in very well. He's very articulate about the way he lives his life, which is suspicious in a way. It's so not suspicious that it's suspicious, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Of course, Batman, using his hidden surveillance, is able to very quickly realise that Kira is a prime suspect in this. He has been to the locations of the disappeared victims before, and these new victims that are disappearing very recently, 2 have died since Batman's arrival, and Kira has been to both locations. However, he did not kill them on camera and left no evidence behind, so Batman goes to investigate those places, and he picks up on the same paranormal energy he did the first time. This leads him to believe Kira is using some kind of superpower to commit these murders. And so Batman keeps investigating. Eventually, with his surveillance, he catches Kira on a date with a severed hand. Nothing more but a hand. Batman at this point has basically confirmed that Yoshikage Kira is the killer. However, Kira, also being intelligent, knowing people are watching him, he doesn't know who's watching him, he doesn't know how, he doesn't quite know what's going on, but what he does know is that he is being studied. So Batman tries to finish him off. He wants to make his move, but the problem is he still hasn't figured out Yoshikage's Kira ability. He can make people disappear without a trace. Batman knows going head to head is not a good idea. He needs to study Yoshikage Kira's ability more. He needs to figure out what it is. So he starts interrogating people around Morio to find out if they know anything about this. And eventually he comes across the stand arrow, okay, and he finds out about stand users. He deduces this is what Yoshikage Kira most likely uses. So Batman, knowing Yoshikage Kira now has some kind of invisible paranormal power, he knows he has to track him down and finish him off quickly. So Batman goes to does that. He knows where Kira lives due to his surveillance around the city. But Kira's gone. Batman can't find him. He searches all around the city. He uses his surveillance to track down Yoshikage Kira. And he sees he went into a crowded beauty salon. And he blended in with the crowd. So Batman goes there to find the woman working at the salon is dead. Batman looks at the surveillance. Kira goes in, he never comes out. Batman has no idea what's gone on. How has he managed to do this? So, Batman realises he needs to research further into the stand users, not just to understand the ability now, but to track down Kira's new identity. As people tell him, this beauty salon owner, Cinderella, is able to change people's appearances, like, monumentally, and just completely alter how they look. So that is his next step. Batman's able to eventually, using his surveillance, notice other people using strange unexplainable abilities and narrows them down as stand users. He interrogates them, and using his surveillance, he uses both these techniques to deduce that stand users are attracted to other stand users even if they don't know it. Stand users often cross paths every day. Sometimes they'll know, sometimes they don't. So Batman, using his surveillance, he tracks the patterns of stand users' everyday movements, sees what two different people often cross paths, and he also looks at old surveillance to look if these people crossed paths before, and most of them did. Apart from this one man, he often, though he would sometimes naturally, so they live in the same town, this one man would not necessarily always, often every day, cross paths with other stand users, except lately. He has been a little more. Has Kira changed his identity into this man? Is this Yoshikage Kira? Batman doesn't have enough evidence to go on yet to say for sure if he does. Batman doesn't intend on using the stand arrow to give himself a stand to win this fight due to the risks. Batman's realised that stand abilities are very random and it's not worth it. He needs to do this his way. Batman spends a day on a stakeout with this suspect, and he feels a strange presence from him, and a new victim's appeared. Batman uses analytical technology again and again. It's the same type of anomaly left behind the Kira killings. It's the same kind of energy he senses from this new man who beforehand seemed to have no connection for stand users up until recently. Batman deduces that Kira most likely killed the real version of this person, took his identity to blend into society. This is not the first time Batman has dealt with a killer like this before. Batman surveillance watching this man, Batman now see that Yoshikage Kira is able to basically explode people. He can detonate things and he completely eviscerates them from existence, often leaving just their hand to become his girlfriend before he gets bored of that hand, gets rid of this hand and gets a new one. Batman does not have time to waste. However, he knows he cannot face him head on. He would get completely obliterated. Thing is, due to his high IQ and experience with dealing with stuff like this, the hard part isn't necessarily figuring out who Kira is, it's actually being able to confront and catch him. Batman needs to be extremely stealthy. He does not waste his time. Batman figures out this new Kira's new location. He goes after him. Batman goes to open the door, but he senses energy from it and decides not to. He knows that Killer Queen, he doesn't know what Killer Queen's called, but he knows his stand has touched that doorknob, and it could be deadly. Again, Batman has done this before. I'm not pulling that explanation out my arse. There's been several times in the comics you can look at it. Batman has been able to sense paranormal and, I guess, mystical energy from objects just through pure instinct and analytical ability. So Batman would most likely be able to tell what objects Killer Queen has touched. Of course, they don't live in the same universe, so it's hard to say for sure, but judging off what Batman's done before, what he's been able to sense before and detect before, it's most likely that Batman would know the objects that Killer Queen has touched and is ready to detonate. So Batman sneaks in the house another way. Using a Tibetan monk technique he's used. The Tibetan monks taught Batman how to slow his heart rate so low he can fake his own death and not make a single sound. Batman, using this technique, has been able to sneak up on Superman before, who has super hearing so good he can hear two people having a conversation on the other side of the planet, from across the world. So Batman is, of course, easily able to sneak up on Yoshikage Kira. Batman knew that just punching Yoshikage Kira, of course, would be too big of a risk. If it doesn't knock him out, Kira will just turn around and blow him up. Yoshikage Kira might also not only have his special ability, he may be physically stronger. So Batman made sure he developed a knockout serum for Yoshikage Kira. He sneaks up on him, and before Kira can do anything, Batman injects him, and just like any other normal human would, he's taken out. Batman doesn't know what to do from here. He doesn't kill, but he can't put him in a normal prison. There's nothing he knows that could subdue Stan's powers and stop him from using Killer Queen to escape and rain more terror. So Batman contacts Superman to send Yoshikage Kira to the Phantom Zone, where he will not be able to escape. And that is basically it. Of course, the hardest part would be in this hypothetical scenario, Batman actually confronting Kira, which is why I believe Batman would be smart enough to not do it up front and sneak on him. Of course, nothing here is a guarantee with a cross-verse discussion. There's a good chance Yoshikage Kira would be able to catch Batman off guard and just completely end him in a one-on-one fight. He obviously would be able to, which is why Batman needed to be smart. However, with Batman's detective experience, his experience with paranormal investigation, and his extremely high IQ and Tibetan monk techniques, I believe if Batman went to Morio with the intention to catch Kira and put him down, I believe he would be able to do it before Yoshikage Kira can properly catch on. After all, a little kid was able to figure him out. Yeah, the little kid lived with him. Yeah, Yoshikage Kira kind of knew, but let him live for the most part. However, of course, just a little kid, Batman's much smarter, he can do much more. Yoshikage Kira also has bites the dust. However, Batman was able to put him out before Yoshikage Kira knew what was happening, knew someone had broken in, so he couldn't activate bites the dust. That at least is my conclusion. Let me know what you think. I could be wrong. That's the thing with these debates. Let me know if you think Batman could catch Yoshikage Kira. Not only figure out who he is and catch him, but actually be able to subdue him and put him away. That's about it. See ya.